Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into something pretty fascinating. It's this really bold attempt to bring back American manufacturing.
Yeah, and specifically in watchmaking, which is, well, it's an industry that mostly packed up and left the U.S., what, 50 years ago? More?
Exactly. I mean, think about that. An intricate craft like watchmaking just gone from our shores, really, a real rarity now.
It's a huge undertaking
Yeah.
because it wasn't just factories closing. We lost the whole ecosystem, the skilled people, the specific tools, the suppliers.
Right, the supply chains just dried up. So trying to rebuild that, that's facing some serious deep challenges.
Definitely.
And that's why this Cornell Watch Company story and their new watch, the Lozier, is so interesting. So our mission today is really to unpack how they're doing it. Their focus on using American-made parts and what that could mean for, well, for bringing back skilled work in the U.S.
And we've got some great source material that really gets into the nitty-gritty of this revival and the Lozier itself.
So let's talk about that gap first. American watchmaking used to be a big deal, right? A world leader, even.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, by the early 20th century, it really started to decline. And like I said, it wasn't just about shutting down plants. We lost generations of know-how.
So where do you even start to rebuild something like that? I mean, the original Cornell Watch Company, founded way back in 1870 in Chicago.
That's right. They were known for these really precise railroad pocket watches, high-quality stuff. But yeah, they eventually became a casualty of that whole industry shift.
Okay, so fast forward. How does it come back?
Well, here's the cool part. In 2023, John and Chrissy Warren, they're from Chicago, big watch collectors.
Yeah.
They decided to revive the Cornell name.
Ah, okay. So passion project.
Sort of, but more than just nostalgia. Their big push was wanting genuine American production, like really making things here.
Gotcha. So that became their main thing, their core principle for the new Cornell. Make as much as possible in the USA.
Exactly. It tries everything. They did have an initial watch, the 1870 CE. Super exclusive, though.
Right. I remember reading about that. Collaboration with RGM, Swiss movement. Very expensive, like 10 watches a year.
Yeah, 5 figures. A real statement piece. But the Lozier? That's different. That's their new flagship.
More accessible, you mean?
Yeah, much more accessible. We're talking mid-4 figures, around $6,200. But, and this is key, they're actually doubling down on that Made in America commitment with this one.
Okay, so let's break that down. Made in America, what parts are we talking about? Where are they coming from?
Okay, so the technical design work, that happens out in California, Santa Clara, Alex Voss Design Studio.
All right. And the actual machining, the metal parts.
That's our precision over in Columbus, Ohio. Really precise work.
Okay. And then putting it all together.
That's done down in Asheville, North Carolina. Justin Harrell and Sergio Barrios handle the assembly. Skilled guys.
Wow. Okay. It's really spread out. What else? The strap?
Even the strap. A nice new buck leather one from Fabulist, right back in Chicago. And the steel itself, sourced from Alro Steel in Jackson, Michigan.
So it's like this whole network across the country, tapping into different specialists.
Yeah, exactly. But, you can't make everything here yet. The infrastructure just isn't fully back for some specific components.
Right. So what parts are sourced internationally? The movement, I assume?
Yeah, the movement's the heart of the watch. It's a Swiss Sellita caliber SW300-1B, very reliable, well-regarded automatic movement.
Okay. What else?
The sapphire crystal, that super hard glass on the front, that comes from Japan, Numata Co., Ltd.
And wasn't there something about the font?
Oh yeah, the numerals on the dial. They use this custom font called Chicago Roman, really cool Art Deco vibe. That was actually designed by Samuel Baker over in England.
Interesting. So it's a mix, but with a very strong American core.
Definitely. And that mix allows them to build a really nice watch. The Lozier, it wears really well. It's about 37.4 millimeter across.
That's a good size, not too big.
And it's surprisingly thin, only 8.5 millimeter thick. That Sellita movement helps keep the profile slim.
And you mentioned it's an elaborate-grade movement. What does that mean for the wearer?
It just means it's a step up from the base version. Better finishing, tighter regulation for accuracy. It runs at 28,800 vibrations per hour, so you get that smooth seconds hand sweep, plus a good power reserve, 56 hours.
Nice. And the case?
Brushed stainless steel, classic look. It's got this nice box-shaped sapphire crystal. Gives it a bit of a vintage feel. Lug-to-lug is about 46.8 millimeters, so it should fit most wrists well. And 50 meters water resistance, so, everyday splashes are fine.
Okay, and the dial sounds pretty special, too. German silver.
Yeah, which isn't actually silver, funny enough. It's a copper-nickel-zinc alloy. Looks great, machines beautifully. Cornell uses it for the dial and the hands.
What's the design like?
It's got this really cool 3-layer stepped thing going on. Diamond cut edges, frosted finish, shows off the metal's natural color. And those Chicago Roman numerals we mentioned, printed right on there.
And the hands match.
Yep, Jurgen silver again in their Cornell leaf shape. Brushed tops, polished edges, very nicely done.
So putting it all together for you, the listener, why is this Lozier compelling at that $6,200 price point?
Well, I think if you really value that made in America aspect, but maybe, super high-end brands like J& Shapiro are out of reach financially, this hits a sweet spot.
Right. It's giving you a genuine piece of that American revival story.
Exactly. You're getting something comparable in quality to maybe some entry-level Swiss luxury stuff, but with this whole other layer of domestic focus and, frankly, a great story. It feels distinct.
It really does, and it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Thinking beyond just watches. Could this Cornell approach, the sort of distributed network model for finding and using local suppliers, could that maybe show a way forward for other old school industries, other skilled crafts we lost?
That's a great question. I mean, could it be a kind of blueprint for bringing more manufacturing, more skilled work back home? It's definitely something worth thinking about.